another idle thoughts video. Oh, it was terrible. I'm cold, that's why. All right, just recorded 2 videos. A lot of talking, not so much playing. I want to talk on this one just for a little bit. And I'll just throw this in as an extra one for a week. It's going to be a really short video. But I just want to get across this gear idolatry. I remember when we worked at a music store, someone would bring in an Epiphone, we'd all look over, and then they'd sell it to the store, we'd hang it on the walls. And the boss used to always get us together and say, look, real simple. I'm trying to buy gear for as little as I can. Someone walks in with a guitar, I want to give him $50. Bottom line, he said, do not swarm around the cash register if someone comes in with a Gibson Les Paul or a Fender Stratocaster. Do not do it. Do not do it. Do not do it. And so it was like the hardest thing in the world. Someone would come in, Sunburst Les Paul, and we'd all be like, okay, so, well, this is Sunburst Les Paul. Yeah, it's an Epiphone. And hopefully soon I'll be able to have, a bunch of Harley Benton Les Pauls. And hopefully they're decent quality. I'll find out. If you see a review of them, then you know they're good quality. If you don't see a review of them, then either I didn't get them or they weren't good quality. When I recorded my album a few years ago, I did more of my recording with this guitar than with this guitar. The Epiphone was just a lot more aggressive sounding. I didn't have the Jackson. Still need a name for a Jackson. Leave suggestions for names for the Jackson in the comments. The Fender over here didn't have that yet either. It was basically this, that, my silver guitar in the back. My Marshall sounds so good that I'm actually thinking of just recording this straight instead of trying to use amp mods. This is an Epiphone, and I have no shame in playing it. I have had 5 Gibson Les Pauls in my life, as far as I remember. I had a wine red, dark wine red, gorgeous, sounded like garbage. I ended up selling that. Again, I regret every guitar I sold. I never want to sell a guitar ever again. I had a natural Gibson Les Paul custom, 3 pickup, Bigsby vibrato. Got rid of it because the strap knob kept tearing out. And it took 3 pairs of hands to put strings on it, and I was going out of my mind. And I should have kept it. I sold it and used the money to buy a Jackson or a Charvel. I loved my Charvel Predator, but man, I missed that Les Paul. Big mistake. Let's see, I had a Cherry Sunburst Gibson Les Paul Standard that I sold. I missed the guitar. I don't miss the fact that it had a little chip right here in the binding, right where my arm would sit. And it would always make my arm really red there. If Doug Marks is watching that, we had a phone call one night where we talked for 2 hours, and you kept telling me how great that guitar looked. I mean, you just kept, man, that was a really nice looking Les Paul. I think it blew your mind and you wanted to get some Les Pauls after that. And then, of course, for the longest time, I also had a 3-pickup Epiphone Les Paul. Oh my goodness, I missed that guitar. It was beautiful. The only thing I didn't like about it was the back of the neck was high gloss, very slippery. I mean, probably I would have done a lot better to have sanded the back of the neck down. Just is what it is. It was so glossy that it just, I mean, I let other people try the guitar and they're like, oh man, this thing's like slippity. You know, they said, I thought you were a terrible guitar player. And it's like, it's the guitar that's making you make mistakes, because I couldn't, you know, it felt like it was too slick. It like grabbed onto my hand. It just, it's like slippity is a good word for it. This Epiphone is not like that, but I do miss the other one. And most of all, I had a Black Beauty. 1980 Les Paul Custom, just gorgeous. Fretless wonder. It was a flat body, flat neck, heavy fret wire, heavy low fret wire. Oh my goodness, it was a wonderful guitar. And yeah. But you see, I'm playing an Epiphone. And if I had the money right now, I'd go out and I'd buy 4 more Epiphones. I would. I'd get a couple of Epiphone Flying Vs. I'd get an Epiphone Explorer. I'd get about 5 Epiphone Les Pauls if I had the money. I would. And I'd have no shame in playing them. This is a Player Series Fender Strat. There are some guys out there that say these are just as good, and in some cases are even better, than real Fender Strats. I had a Fender Strat that to me was magic, and it was a Japanese Strat. I had another one, it was a Mexican Strat, and Ingve played that guitar, and he said, this is a really nice Strat. No kidding. I don't have it anymore, should have hung on to it. And so there's no shame in that either. All right, so you see that I only have one Gibson Les Paul left. Don't make gear idolatry. Don't say I've got to have, you know, JCM 800 Marshall stack or a DSL. It's all got to be tube. I don't have a tube amp. I've got a solid state amp. People say solid state amps sound terrible. I don't hear it. There are a lot of people that say they can hear the difference. Good on you. I can't. I think this amp sounds amazing. And there is a rock star that's played through this amp. Literally plugged in and played my amp when he got up there and played live. And I remember he said to me something about, it's not a bad amp, I like it. You know, told him he couldn't have it, it's mine. You can go out and get hundreds of Marshalls. I can only get the one. And I don't have a Marshall cabinet. You know, you all have seen it. I've got this VHT. What is this? VHT. I got a VHT cabinet. Don't make gear idolatry. If it's a good guitar, buy it. If it's a good guitar, play it. Don't get stuck on, I've got to pay $1,400 for a Fender, American-made Fender Stratocaster if the Player Series feels good to you and sounds good to you. This is a $400 Jackson Flying V. I paid $200 for it. I think it's amazing. I play this guitar almost more than anything else I play. The guitar actually that I have here that I play the least has got to be Snow White. And Snow White for years was my main guitar. I'm a Flying V guy. I really miss my Gibson Flying V. That is what I miss the most. I so miss that guitar. Okay, so that's the whole point behind today. Like I said, not a whole lot of playing, nothing to learn. Just I want to get this out of your mind. Don't be a gear idolater. If you want a Gibson Les Paul, buy a Gibson Les Paul. But don't let that dissuade you from if you walk into a store and you see a J Tercer and you pick it up and like, hey, I kind of like this thing. This is right. I mean, literally, like I said, one of my best ever Fender Strats was a Japanese Strat. It was magic. There was something amazing about that guitar. Don't have it anymore. I had a 1962 Fender reissue. Very nice. Not as good as the Japanese Strat. So, every guitar is individual and every guitar is unique. Play the ones that you like. You like the sound, you like the feel, you like the playability. There's just something about that guitar, then buy that guitar. Play that guitar. All right, there you go. Remember, comment, like, subscribe. Helps the search engines to find us. Maybe helps Gibson to find me, and maybe they'll give me some guitars. Or Epiphone. I'd be glad to take, like I said, 10 more Epiphones. Or if Jackson wants me to endorse your guitars, hey, a few more of those and I'll be all set. All right, that's it. See ya.